check its status. As you can see here, I have 2 online nodes and none of the resources of the cluster are configured. In order to add SQL servers as a resource in the cluster, I have a SQL Server Resource Agent package available to install in the same repository as MS SQL Server. So I'll have to install, it's called MS SQL Server HA. We'll have to install it on both nodes. Okay, let's bring, once that completes, we can edit the cluster configuration file in order to add the SQL resource. So PCS cluster, we're going to save all the changes in this temporary file, and in order to add a resource to the cluster, we're going to use the PCS resource create command. Let's call it MSSQL HA and add the rest of the parameters and a timeout for a pacemaker to start SQL instance. And together with the SQL, we're going to add a virtual IP resource, and I'm going to show you how to collocate them together. We're going to use the same PCS resource create virtual IP. And of course, we're going to use unique IP within the network. Okay, let's save the configuration file. PCS cluster. So at this time, the resources should have been come up. Let's check with PCS status. And as you can see here, they are online, but they are on different nodes. We want the virtual IP and the SQL resource to be on the same, collocating on the same node. So on the client side, we don't have to, we use the virtual IP to connect to the SQL server. And in case of the failover, the failover should be transparent to the application. So we'll have to add a constraint on the 2 resources to coexist on the same node. So when SQL resource will, SQL will fail over to another node, virtual IP should follow it. So using the same configuration, cluster configuration file, we'll have to PCS, we'll have to update the configuration to add a constraint. Collocation, add, so we just add the 2 virtual IP, and again, just save, push with the temporary file. And at this time, the virtual IP resource should move to follow the, or in this case, actually SQL Server resource moves to the same node. Okay, and as you can see, they are both on the same node. To trigger failover, we use PCS resource move command, and we say to the SQL resource to move to the other node. Oh, I misspelled something here. Oh, resource. And now again, using PCS status, we should see that the resources, both the SQL resource and the virtual IP resource, moved to the other node in the cluster. Now, let's restore an encrypted database from SQL Server running on Windows to this instance of SQL Server running in the cluster.